And I had this little project worked out where a certain local artist did a painting of me, and I thought, okay, my first shot is gonna be do a painting or drawing of that artist. So that's what my project was.
A portrait was done of Richard by Joel Sager, and it's had mixed reviews. Some people think it was a little harsh and maybe not as flattering as other people might have thought. And so what we decided to do was for Richard to do a portrait of Joel Sager. Yeah, I think Richard has, a good eye. He took a, good look at a photograph of Joel and drew from that. And I think that if you look at it, you can go, oh, that's Joel Sager. So I think it has a touch of reality to it, but it also has a touch of whimsy. There's a little cartoon quality to it, and there's just some kind of playfulness to it. So I think it's a good portrait.
Like most people, I started as a kid doing drawing and copying comic books and, doing covers off of National Geographic. You see beautiful photographs and I would try to draw it. Nobody was really into art. There was never really a discussion like, oh, you'll be an artist. I just did that when I was bored. I think that like most people, they were afraid that that wasn't a way to live. Like, how are you going to support yourself? And, they came around later. But then, eventually I went to college and I took, basic classes, and it was a slow process for me. I wasn't one of those people. I have a lot of friends who woke up when they were young and thought, I'm an artist. That never really happened to me. One day I got a call from my friend Shauna Johnson. She's the director of Access Arts. She wanted to tell me about a big idea she had for a project and see if I'd be interested in doing it. So she told me just kind of the bare bones about it. It was a celebrity artist pairing. I didn't find out that it was a basketball player until like the first meeting. So, and then I don't know anyone in sports, so I was thinking, oh, a basketball player, And I thought, oh, I wonder, is this gonna be, a lot of work, or how's that gonna go, and it was completely different than I thought it was. As soon as I met him, and it was Kim English, as soon as we met and started talking, it was obvious that he had an idea, and he knew where he wanted to go, which made my job, so much easier. Instead of me kind of leading and him going with me, it was like he's leading and I'm going with him. So that was great. It was just, wonderful. He's wonderful to work with. So we just got on really well just from the get-go, and it was easy. We just started, the first time we met, we started talking about what his idea was, and then we sort of bounced some ideas off each other, and I was really excited about it. The first thing that you need is a working drawing for a painting, and so what he's doing now is he's just familiarizing himself with the image. So he's taking some photographs, and he's doing some sketches now, and we'll do a whole series of those until we get a really good working drawing, and then we'll use that to do like small watercolor studies in preparation for the final image, which will be a large watercolor. Now, there's a lot that goes into that, so we need to work out all those details before you get to a big piece, because watercolor is not very forgiving, so once you get it on there, it's pretty much on there. We got our idea, got it on the paper, and we were moving along, and then he gets called to go to Chicago and science with the Chicago Bulls. So that was huge for him and very exciting. However, now he's in Chicago, so we've had to work kind of long distance. So he's been working on a piece mostly solo. Very pleased and proud to have been there and helped him along to make his piece. We're at the end of this project, and overall I thought it was great. And also, you know, it kind of did reveal to myself, that I kind of had a stereotype about working with a basketball player, and everybody has hidden talents. We all have to work hard at looking kind of behind someone's title or their job title, or, you know, all of that, because there's all this stuff underneath. This is the final piece. We've reached the end of the project, and his original idea was he wanted to combine the columns with different people. He wanted to talk about diversity, and he's really been successful at showing the people on the columns. And this is watercolor on paper, and we had a really good time doing it. He wanted to talk about diversity by using figures and combining them with the columns from MU's campus. We ended up doing just colors and color systems kind of moving through the columns. And, you know, that's one of the things that he talked about, was the diversity here at MU and how important that was and how much he loved that. So, and I think this was a very successful painting. We worked on trying to get the colors into the columns. So this was a great project. It enabled two people from very different backgrounds to get together and collaborate on a piece. I'm quite happy with it, and he should be too.
Much of the coverage out of Joplin is based over near the St. John's Mercy Hospital. As these floodwaters rise, Holt County residents can only sit and watching the flood gauge here in Rouleau, Nebraska. The train derailment in Miami County forced dozens of people from their homes. Tonight, those people in Osawatomie are back home, and everyone is breathing a sigh of relief.
There's nothing more fulfilling than making art. Creating something for any individual is extremely fulfilling. So, you know, art is it's irreplaceable, really. All right. Okay.
And remember, water's your best friend when centering. Make sure to keep plenty of water on it. Good. Okay, now Meredith, if you want to look over here for a second.
I think I got it much better.
That looks very good. There you go. Nice flat surface, and that's what we want. We want that flat surface to drop the hole. And just go straight in with both thumbs, and go about 3/4 of the way, and then we'll measure it. You there? Okay. I just wanted to bring us into, like, give us some kind of frame of reference as to where you're at with, you know, your normal job versus your, this is, I guess, recreation. Horizontally outwards. And concentrate on not moving your hands up and down. You just want to keep it straight, horizontally out. Just open it up like that. Form. And basically, I'm going to push out the top like this. Now, you want to be careful because when you push out the top too much, gravity's going to want to pull it down. But I just want to widen it and make a little bowl out of this. With the rib, start at the base and just move up. And kind of push it out like that. Then you have a bowl. And then remember, Meredith, with that combination, you know, it does run, so I think that looks good. Fragile. Try.
Beautiful.
No, it just, I think it's a combination.
No problem.
We just clean each one of them.
I don't know that you can define art. I think art's anything that makes somebody feel something, whatever that is. You know, art can make you hate it. Art can make you love it. Art can remind you of something beautiful or something you love. But it's just really what you. Art just makes you feel. It makes you think. And we do see some chances for showers on and off throughout the day today. Your complete live Doppler 8 First Alert weather is coming up after the news. Downtown as they're walking to the football game.
Right.
We set up on completely the wrong side of the street. It was in the shade the entire time.
Oh my goodness.
I shared a pink ribbon blanket with some of the ladies. My grandpa was on the radio station in Moberly for years, and when I turned 16 and needed a job, I didn't want to work at Walmart, you know, it was Walmart or the grocery store, a gas station. That was the options in my town. So got into radio. It was really fun. I mean, I've had lots of part-time jobs, done lots of other things. I thought about going into teaching, but I get drawn back into radio every time I think I'm going to quit. I like talking, I like telling stories, and I like that they pay me for it.
Interested in art. My dad was a welder and a pipe fitter, so sort of grew up around that sort of stuff and sort of translated it to my own interests. Yeah. So I'm sure there are you know, underlying themes and veins that run through the work. You know, it's more subconscious for me. I don't plow through it as fast as I can. You know, just take my time and, you know, get to it when I will. But I always try and make myself learn something new in every piece that I make, especially these bigger pieces. So I've been learning some new processes. Well, that slows you down a little bit, but that's part of what makes it fun for me. Is still learning something new.
How would you explain your experience with Matt and working on the art project?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, and I'd kind of asked for ceramics at first, and that got turned into sculpture, and then, oh hey, we'll teach you to weld. And never thought I'd be welding, but it was really cool. It's harder than it looks. Bending the metal's tough. It, you know, uses a lot of upper body strength, but he's got some really cool ways of like cheating it. Yeah. When thinking about
things that come out, you sort of think of them in terms of having a tail there that can connect in.
using the welder is so much fun. Just put it, I thought I might set myself on fire a couple times, but did okay. And, I mean, we used a blowtorch in our final day of it, so it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Would you explain experience so far with teaching someone and building art pieces? I know you've done teaching before, but how about this experience? What makes this different, do you think?
I've enjoyed it. She was a good student. She was engaged in the process and invested and willing to put the time in the planning, and then putting in sort of the sweat equity and in making the work. And so I've enjoyed it. And I enjoy teaching people these processes that they wouldn't normally think that they could ever do. A lot of times people will tell me, I had no idea that I can bend metal with my hands, or I can weld or put these types of things together, or drill this and cut that. So I enjoy broadening people's perspective and skill sets. Not that they will use it again, but they might, and may translate into other areas of their life. Not so quickly defaulting to the I could never do that, but thinking, well, I built this sculpture, I bent this metal, maybe I could try something. So I've enjoyed it.
¿Qué es lo que actualmente valora más esta sociedad? ¿Qué es lo que actualmente valora más esta sociedad? Ingeniero, abogado, médico y el resto está como de más. ¿Qué es lo que actualmente valora más esta sociedad? ¿Qué es lo que actualmente valora más esta sociedad?
My name is Jenny Sennett, and I teach weaving here at Access Arts in Columbia. I've been teaching weaving here for about 26 years now, and we have classes year-round for adults and children and individuals who may have special needs. We have a whole range of different students who have different interests and talents, and one of the nice things about classes at Access Arts is that we keep them small on purpose so that all the students get as much attention as possible, so that if a beginning student needs a lot of help just learning to set up a loom, she or he gets that. And likewise, some of the students who have been here for 10 years or more and are quite advanced get the attention and the research toward subjects that they're interested in too. So I think it's really a jewel of a program in Columbia. What we plan to do with the weaver, the lucky person who's going to learn to weave, which is Mr. CelebrARTy, is I have already set up a loom for him to work on, and I'll guide him through the basics of weaving. It's not hard. And then, after he feels kind of comfortable, then his intended project will be a table runner.
Todo igual en otra realidad. Intento adaptarme con regularidad sin dejar de hacer lo que me da felicidad.
Okay, sorry. But so he actually came in and asked me one day if I'd be interested in doing this project, and I obviously was. I like the same things. I like the idea of obviously in music, and my wife in photography, we're both fairly artistic people. And I like the idea of the arts being accessible to people regardless of any sort of background or challenges that they may have in life. I think art in general is something that can be a very good motivator for people in life, and it was for me, and it still is for me. So I like that. I think that's a cool that's a cool mission, a cool objective, and something that I think can do a lot of good in communities like ours who have kind of bought into the arts being a kind of integral part of what we do. So yeah. Hope that made sense because I wasn't talking and doing this at the same time.
Now, did you switch back again?
Mm-hmm. Oh! I told you, right when you said it.
Okay, what did you just correct?
I think I'm on 4 now.
Okay, what's 4?
Or I think I'm on...
Okay, what's 4?
That's...
Okay, we're going to unmute it.
What did you learn about reading at your first day?
That I'm not terrible at it, for one thing. Yeah, no, this is fun. I do enjoy it. I could see it being very easing on after a stressful day.
It is.
I can see that.
It is.
I'll probably still default to the golf course, but this could be a second.
But you know, on a snowy day when you can't play golf.
I can only play golf 8 months out of the year, and this is crazy.
Before like anonymous like internet comments existed, this has existed. A local number that you can dial and just leave an anonymous voicemail. And the local paper transcribes this anonymous voicemail and prints it.
Shauna called me and asked me if I would be interested in working with local CelebrARTy.
It was a lot of kind of brainstorming as to what to do, thinking about processes, thinking about things I was interested in, talking with Charlie. We kind of snowballed from there.
He had this idea in his back pocket about working out of the local Columbia Tribune and Trib Talk. So we started digging a little bit through some Trib Talks and getting some information, or I guess harvesting them. He had this one that was in an album cover at his house that he was really attached to, and it ended up that we weeded it down to that one. We wanted to do a printmaking project. I had a way of making in my back pocket of transferring imagery really quickly onto other surfaces.
Charlie introduced me to this, which I guess is a thing that is pretty commonly known, because Carrie's like, oh yeah, duh, I did this in Girl Scouts. So I'm like, okay, I'm out of the loop here. Using glue with a laser jet print, and then had it printed on tabloid size from just local printer, and adhesing that down to matte, and then a process of wearing off the paper, and it leaves the ink behind, and with the inverse it leaves it so it's readable. Cleaned up some of the mess around it. I just kept kind of tidying it up, but it's still rather grainy still. Very much keeps the original nature of the print from the newspaper column, which was, yay big. Yeah. It's pulled out and it's enlarged so that you can focus on just that item.
So the idea is that you want to always start in the middle. Yeah. And then basically you want friction. Jonathan was fun to work with. He had a lot of knowledge about what he wanted to do.
It definitely just kind of clicked.
And then, so what you want to do is you see how I'm folding it up and rolling the paper out, and I'm not on the paper, I'm on top of the glue now. Gotcha. And you can feel the difference.
We really worked well together, and I had a lot of fun.
I think that we really discussed kind of between the two of us like what we thought about Trip Talk and like what it would mean to do a project like this.
I've shared my frustration with this form, that it throwaway comments, insults, and in some cases I think definable hate speech are printed and mass-produced by the Columbia Daily Tribune. It frustrates me.
A lot of the times these Trip Talk things seem so similar to that, where people are in the situation in the heat of the moment, and it's like, man, 20 minutes of just reflection and stepping away from something, you know, could have totally changed or deviated the way that they're gonna talk about this.
So much of that message has been filtered out by the curation and printing of this audio recording. You don't know where this individual was when they were making this recording. You don't know the state of mind. You don't know there's so much context that has been removed. And we've removed a lot of that context in our piece. We've removed a lot of the curation, and we're focusing on an individual recording.
In some way, it would be to shed light on what Trip Talk is.
I think in the same way that they curate and edit and represent, we have curated, edited, and we are representing Trip Talk.
Somewhere we cross the line. By the end, there's no telling if it's